Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we are going to attempt is the important word there, a fix on an Xbox One S. This was sent over to me by Dean. He is the owner over at puddles.com. He is the one that provides all my merch. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's just have a little look in here and then we can see what it does. There's a little note here as well. I'll read that as well in a minute. Oh, it's boxed. Oh, cash converters are £160. Right, okay. Here we have it. It's an all digital one. I've never worked on one of these before. I've never even handled one. Interesting, right. So it's 1 terabyte, all digital Xbox One S. Now, let me read the note. Dear Vince, please find a non-working Xbox One S. The fault is that it does not power on, although when plugged in it does make the power up noise, beeps, but nothing happens. The controller powers up, but not sure if this pairs with the console as it doesn't turn on. Given it is the run up to Fixmas, I note many of these types of auctions on eBay that your viewers may be tempted by if they discovered the fix. If there is one, of course. Trying to fix video might not necessarily be fixable. We are extremely proud at Puddle to be able to provide your channel supporters and viewers with the opportunity to buy merch, and so this is a way of providing some more of your fantastic content for them to enjoy as well. Thank you for taking the time to take this apart and play around with it for our and everyone else's enjoyment. Keep fixing. Best wishes, Dean Jones Puddles. Massive thanks, Dean. So Dean's been a real asset to this channel here, because I've been on about merch for ages and I've just never got round to actually doing it, while he has done it for me. So if you want something like a mug, you can see here, this is the original logo mug. If you wanted a Christmas version of it, how nice is that little logo there? Merry Fixmas. Yeah, and obviously there's t-shirts, hoodies and stuff to match as well. This is an example of the Christmas t-shirt coming up here. So yeah, if you are interested in any of my merch, please check out puddle.com. I will leave a link down in the description down below. And obviously it's split between me, Dean, the company, and charity as well. 10% of it does go to charity. So that's something that not a lot of other providers of merch do. So massive thanks to Dean for that. Right, okay, so let me get my monitor set up. Let's plug this in and see what it is doing. Okay, I plugged it in. It doesn't come with the power lead, so the only thing I've changed on this is the power lead. I've used the one from the PlayStation 5 here. And turned it on, it worked first time. And it's not turning off. We do have a problem with the controller, but so far with this Xbox, it appears to be working. I mean, it's still got the previous person's account on it. I don't quite know what's going on here, unless it's been water damage and in the meantime it's dried out. I mean, there's definitely a stain. Can you see the stain up this area here? So it might be worth taking it apart just to see. But annoyingly, it's doing its thing. But look, check this out. This is the controller here with the black back. And can you see on the thumbstick, it's missing the kind of rubber cover around it? This is my controller here. Now, this is how it should work. They both sync up fine, but watch. If I want to move around, can you see? I can move around nice and easy, and I've got full control. Yeah? Now watch it on this one here. It is all over the place. It's like taking 2 or 3 steps at once. Trying to get it just to go down one. Let's say now if I wanted to get to controller there, you can see that even if I do it a tiny amount, it's not doing it. And watch, the same's on the D-pad. Why is that? That is happening on the D-pad as well. And look, when I go to the left, it jumps all the way over there. So it's doing super big movements, which is weird. Now I updated this controller. If I go to ease of access, I actually updated it to, yeah, there you go, no update available, because it is fully up to date, so it's not an update issue. I'll take it apart and have a look on the inside just to see what it looks like. Maybe if it was cutting off, maybe could it be an overheating thing? Would it be worth changing a thermal paste? Maybe. I'm hoping to see a bit of water damage, and then that might solve the issue. And I think we need to look at this controller here to see what's going on with it. So let's get it over to the blue mat and start taking it apart. It looks like it hasn't been opened up before. This is a real shame, because if it was my console, I'd just keep using it to see if it fails. But I'm just going by what I've been told. Dean bought it 40 off eBay. Why did the person sell it on eBay? if it wasn't faulty. Really weird. So that's what I want to investigate, is just this stain up here, and there's a few marks around here, just in case liquid's been spilt in here. So now to get into it, I need to work my way all the way around the bottom here to try to take this bottom bit off. There's a load of screws and stuff to undo. So let's just whiz through that bit now, because if this video is just going to be about changing thermal paste and changing an analog stick on the controller, I don't want it to go on for too long. And while we're tearing into this Xbox One all digital, let's give a shout out to the My Mate Vince Massive. So before I read out the names, I just want to thank all the Patreons. I want to thank everybody that leaves thumbs up on these videos, all the viewers that leave all those helpful comments that help me and everybody else out. So on the Massive this month we have, as always, kitdigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Having Fun Repairs, Ellensburg Amplifier Repair and Service, Will Michaelis, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, King Kurd from Lowbook Auto Sales, DJVG, Tobias Hennig, and Robert from Timsey's Auto Air. So a massive thanks to each and every one of you that give this channel a bit of love along the way. It's a bit annoying they put the clip that side because it's hard to get to. I suppose the idea is you take it completely out of the case. Right, so I mean, it could be a power supply problem, couldn't it? But again, if it's one of those faults that's not showing itself, how do I know that? Obviously there was a fault there, but unless it's happening now, I'm not going to be able to fault find that, am I? I mean, what you're going to do, just swap out a load of different things? I mean, that BT years ago on an intermittent fault, because obviously you have to do something, you would just swap something out, and then when the fault came back, the next engineer would swap something else out. That's the only really way you can deal with an intermittent fault if nothing's shown up on your test equipment. So all I'm going to do here is really do a visual check to see what's happening.
Feet step over splinters of the moon.
There we go. Okay, I was expecting that to be a lot softer. That is actually very hard, and also it looks like it's covered in air bubbles, which is kind of strange. Maybe that's normal if you work on these all the time, but do you know what I mean? It looks a bit like air bubbly. I wonder, could it be related to heat? I think it's unlikely. But we'll change out the thermal paste. I'm just going to have a quick once over, look everywhere, make sure that these power supplies here look okay. What's that there? That's just dust. Ah, here we go. What's that there? Let's zoom in on that. Oh, what is that? Ah, nothing. I thought for a minute there might have been a little hole in the board there. I was getting excited. I suppose it wouldn't come on at all then, would it? Because this is feeding the RAM chips. Yeah, okay, well something's spilt in there, but it hasn't caused any damage underneath. Ah, here we go. What's this here? Now, this is hard. Oh, this is hard. Excellent. Right, I just want to see if it's gone through to the other side of the board. Roughly around here. No, it hasn't. Now, could this be something? Could this be something here? No. that was definitely stuck hard on the board. Yeah, it hasn't damaged a trace underneath though. But yeah, this has had some kind of a little bit of a spill on the inside. Let's keep looking. Right, I'm going to brush it down and then see if there's anything remaining after I brush it. Right, I've given it a nice clean round here and it all looks perfect. I've looked around the board using the eye loop. I can't see anything obvious. Now, I don't think I'm going to win with this one here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean off the thermal paste here and here because it is particularly hard. Again, I don't think it is that, but as you've seen, it was working earlier, fine earlier on. It didn't seem particularly hot. But I'm going to do that because it's hard and then put fresh thermal paste on. I'm going to use this stuff here, MX4. Now, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to reset the console and then I'm going to put my username on it, play a game for a while and see then if it starts playing up, just in case it's something to do with like something's got corrupted or something like that. So I suppose the issues could be overheating, power supply or hard drive, or obviously something on the board as well. Now, unless it starts happening in my possession here, there's not really much I can do about it because I don't want to put a new hard drive in if this isn't going to be faulty. I don't want to get a new power supply if it's not going to be the cause. So that's what I'm going to do now. Take off the thermal paste, put it all back together, wipe it, try to update it, play a couple of games and see how we go. And then in the meantime, what I can do is I can try to fix the controller, which I know 100% is faulty. Right, I've given it a bit of a clean up and I've put all the screws and everything back in. I'm not going to put the bottom cover on just yet because I now want to reset it. And then I'm going to get my son to play it for a couple of hours and see whether the fault reappears. If it does, fantastic, then I can fault find it from there. If not, who knows? It could have been as simple as the thermal paste. It's unlikely, but that thermal paste was rock hard. I've never seen thermal paste as hard as that. So, yeah. Let's just take it from there. Okay, I've now got my Ethernet cable plugged in and it says here, let's update. The size of the update is 4.3 gigabytes, so I need to update before I can do anything else. So I'm just going to do the update now. So by resetting everything, apart from the games and the apps, hopefully then it might automatically fix the issue if there's some corruption on the hard drive. So that's what we're going to do here. Well, look at what we've had here. So I updated it, I reset it, I got Fortnite updated on it, so that took a good like half an hour, 45 minutes or so, and then I said to my son, start up Fortnite and start playing, and as soon as it came up with the screen there and then went to another screen, he said, Dad, it's turned off, and now look, it's not turning back on. Yes, so it is actually showing the fault that it was reported with, but how weird is that to begin with? It didn't do anything for ages. Right, I can hear a little clicking noise. Listen to this. Hear that click? Right, I think we need to take it apart again and see where that click is coming from, whether it's the power supply or the hard drive. I bet it's power supply related. So just to fill you in on what's happening, because I believe it could be a power supply problem, I take a known working power supply out of an Xbox One S, but the disc based version, so not the all digital version. But looking at the power supplies, they both have the same inputs, they both have the same output voltage, and also the same amp rating as well. So I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine. If you think about it, the disc version, in theory, should use a little bit more energy, shouldn't it, than the disc-free version. So at least now I have another known working power supply, so I can swap them over. So in this part of the video here, I've taken the working power supply out of my other Xbox One S and the disc one, and basically I've stripped Dean's one back down again so I can get access to the power supplies and see if I can find out where this weird click is coming from. I'm just going to put my ear right down, see if I can hear where it's coming from. Well, I could be wrong. I think that's coming from the power supply. So now let's unplug the power supply. Now let's plug this one in, see if it's working, and then we can maybe plug the other one in again and see if it will fail straight away. That'd be perfect if it could. Right, let's see now. Yeah, that's going to work, isn't it? So it's gone off and it's going to come back on again. Right, so that's working there. Let's power it down. Now, what would be amazing is if this doesn't work. Right, please don't work. Yes, brilliant. It's power supply related, because it would be too much of a coincidence to plug that one in and for it not to work, and then the other one and not work. It must be something to do with heat building up in here. I bet the capacitors have failed. Right, unplugged again. Let's just quickly plug this one in, and then what I'm going to do is let's fix up the controller, and then I'm going to leave this one playing in the background, and if this is still going to work after a while, then I think that will definitely prove it. I'm going to just rest there a minute. Leave that there. Yeah, it's power supply related. Right, okay. Let me see if there's a way. Thing is, you shouldn't be messing with these too much, should you? I'm going to price up how much these power supplies are. Now, I've had a quick look on eBay, and it looks like you can get brand new ones from Replace Space for £30, or you can get used ones for £17.50. Now, obviously, I suppose it depends on the console it came out of, but a lot of people wouldn't have had these on for like 10 hours a day for the past 2-3 years. Some of them might only get put on for an hour or so a week, in which case then that one there could be absolutely fine. That's £17.50. It's tested and working. Obviously, I don't know how long it's going to work for, but there's definitely an option there, isn't there, to just get that rather than messing with the capacitors. But I think let's have a little look on the inside just to see if we can see maybe what's caused this. Right, great news. About 4 hours, maybe even 5 hours has passed, and this has been playing YouTube videos constantly, and it hasn't turned itself off once, which is fantastic. So obviously it is the power supply that is at fault. So I'm happy that we definitely proved what the fault is. Okay, so next day now, and I've prized open the faulty power supply. It's just got these annoying clips here and here, here and here, and then there's a visible clip here, so you just need to use a tool to work your way around and pop out the clips. It does actually come apart without breaking, which is quite nice. And then you've got this little shield on the bottom here, so I just unsoldered that one from that point there and folded it over. And there's a nice little thermal pad that just goes across there. So now I've had a good look at this power supply here, and I can't see any burnt components, I can't see any bad solder joints, and if you think about it, I'm not gonna, am I? Because it's working perfectly until it fails. So I think it's just something on its way out. Now I suppose the most obvious thing is capacitors, or these switching transistors. There's quite a few of them. You've got 2 over here, you've got 1 here, you've got 1 here as well. I mean, could it even be as simple as the bridge rectifier? Maybe once it's heating up is thrown a wobbly. Really, it could be anything. Now, because there's not anything obvious and it's just guesswork, what I've done is I put an offer in for the one on eBay for £16. It was up for £17.50. I put an offer in for £16, which is a fair offer, and it got accepted straight away. So I've bought one for £16. So really, I'm not going to waste time on this. But because it is the video, it would be quite nice to know what's gone on it. So I think the most obvious thing is, the easiest thing to change is going to be the capacitors. They're testing perfectly as far as the ESR is concerned. I can't test them for the actual capacitance because they're still in circuit. But what I'm going to do is, I haven't got exact matches. This is only for testing. So what I'm going to do for Dean's one is I'm going to give him my power supply from the Xbox that I fixed ages ago, because that power supply, as far as I know, for the testing that I've done, that Xbox is working fine. And when I had it plugged in last night, it was working for hours upon hours upon hours. Not gaming, but on YouTube. I know that's not going to put as much pressure on it, but yet it still kicked out earlier when I was on YouTube on this one here. And then when the replacement one comes, I'm going to put it into my one. So then it's still 2 working Xboxes, and this has taken £16 to fix. But I am going to mess around with this just to see if we can prove what went faulty on this. So now if you have a look here, we've got 2 capacitors, and on the top they're labelled 820 and underneath 16. So I presume that that is going to be 820 microfarad and 16 volts. Now I have got these CAN type, but the highest my ones go up to, I think, is 470, 25 volts, something like that. So I haven't got any 820. Now I don't want to go out and buy capacitors because I think these are quite unusual values, because I haven't come across them before. So it's just really just for the purpose of this video that I'm doing this. So in these ones here, I know you shouldn't put in a higher microfarad, but I'm going to be putting these in 1000 microfarad by 25 volts, just to see if it's going to work. If it does, we can safely say then that the the capacitors have failed. Also, there's this one down here. Now this is 100 microfarad by 50 volts, which is quite a normal sort of a normal one, but yet my ones are 100 microfarad by 25 volts. But I have found this one here. This is 100 microfarad by 35 volts. Now again, I know you shouldn't put in a lower voltage, it should be a higher voltage. I haven't got a higher voltage. I'm wondering whether maybe you've got 20 odd volts passing through here and they just stuck in a 50 volt one for allowance there, so you're not putting it under too much strain. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to whack this one in here, whack these 2 in here, and then I'm going to plug it into my one, not Dean's one, because I don't want to blow his one up. I'll do it into my one, and I'll see if it's holding its own. If it's holding its own throughout the day, then we can safely say that it was these capacitors that failed. Now I know it's very unusual because this isn't old at all, and chances are it's probably going to be these transistor type MOSFET things going on here. But the controller's absolutely filthy, so I think the controller's had a serious amount of use. So this, although it's not very old, maybe it's been on for like 10 hours a day, every single day for the last 2.5 years, in which case then maybe the capacitors have failed. So let's swap them out. Okay, so those 2 capacitors have been replaced, and that one there as well. So these are the replacement ones. Now remember, incorrect ones to put in here, but let's say now if it does stay on, I can always buy the correct ones, can't I? Because then I know that these are at fault. If it goes off again straight away, then I know it's nothing to do with them, and it's probably one of these ones here, but I'm not going to take it any further. Right, let's put it back together. Before I plug it into the Xbox, let's see if we do have 12 volts still on here, just in case by changing the capacitance that we've affected the voltage. Just out of curiosity, I just want to see what this one here is measuring. 88, should be 100. I don't think that's faulty. I broke one of the legs off that one when I was taking it off, but I measured this, and this is also testing. This is also testing okay. And I did ESR on them earlier, and the ESR was okay. So this should be 820. And there you go, 780. I don't think it's these, unless it's heat related. You see, when they heat up, maybe maybe that's when they go wrong. But I think it's probably going to be one of those transistors instead. We'll soon know. Right, let's see now whether it's going to explode when I plug it in. So keeping my hands well clear of everything, but I will be touching this here, but this should be low voltage. Plugging it in now. Okay, right, no initial bang. Let's see if we have 12 volts coming out of here. We do. Excellent. Do you know what? I'm going to plug it into my Xbox, not Dean's, my one, and I'm going to leave it wearing away and see what it does. Well, so far so good, but remember that power supply before worked for, let me update, and worked for ages. It's only when I started doing games and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to update this and leave it wearing away in the background. Fingers crossed, you never know. It'd be nice to prove that the fault was the capacitors. Right, now, I've got my game controller tester on this little laptop down here. Let's plug this in. And now we can test what buttons work, what don't work. See what's going on with this stick drift. Right, so yeah, you can see it's there connected, classic interface, view and menu. So we have to do these two together to enter into it. Right, okay, so let's zoom in. And let's see what is going on. All right, you can see the stick drift already there on the right hand side. Yeah, this is right analog stick, left analog stick. So when I move this one here, you can see, yeah, look at that. Right, so that's definitely got stick drift. Could possibly be cleaned by IPA, but I think maybe we should swap over that faulty part of the analog stick. So there's two potentiometers, one for the X axis and one for the Y axis. And as you can see, the X axis is actually okay. Yeah, because it's not drifting over this way, is it? It's just drifting up. So we need to sort that out. Let's have a look at the left analog stick. Right, well, that actually looks to be okay, doesn't it? We need to put a new cover on it here. Maybe I can change over the whole top of the thumbstick. Right now, buttons. Oh, here we go. Look, we've got one lit up. That's jammed down. Right, okay, that's why it was behaving funny. There we go. That's why it was behaving funny. It was just jammed down. Could be to do with dirt. This thing is absolutely filthy. Look at all the dirt in here and stuff and all around here. Right, okay, well that makes sense now why it was acting so weird on the Xbox. You can see it all lighting up when I do the different things. Right, okay, so we need to sort out analog stick, change out the thumbstick and give everything a good clean. Hopefully then that will be working okay. Let's get it apart. I've already done loads of videos on these Xbox controllers, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Basically, you have to get your nails or a little tool into this part here, take these bits off, and then it uncovers screws. You can see there now. feels like you're going to break it. Oh, look at all the dead skin. It feels like you're going to break it, but it is incredibly strong. I think a lot of this has been held in by dirt. Dearie me. There we go. Right, okay. This hasn't been a part, just like the Xbox, this hasn't been a part. So really, this was a real good buy for Dean on eBay, because it means that he or I would have been the first one in here. Right, so thumbstick, I can just replace that. I have spares. Have a look. There we go. Yeah, so that's going to go on there like so. So now that's going to look nice and good there, but we have to do the y-axis on this one. Gives me a good opportunity to clean all around here. You can see there all the gunk, and it's stuff like that which is helping the buttons stick down. Okay, so it is, let me get this right, yeah, this one here. So it's the up and down one that we're worried about, which is going to be this potentiometer here on this side, because you can see that when we go up and down here, up, down, that potentiometer's moving. When we go left to right, that one's moving. So I'm going to leave that one there. I'm going to change out this one here. I mean, a clean would probably, could well just sort it, but I'll swap it out. So that's the actual wiper that moves along, and if we have a look here, let's see if we can see any damage. Yeah, there you go. Can you see all here? Look at all that wiped away there. Yeah, so that's faulty. So cleaning that isn't really going to change anything, is it? It's been damaged here. From where? Because this is just like a carbon, and you've got metal moving against it all the time. Yeah. So what's happening is now, it's the reading between here and here is going to be different. Hold on, what is it now? The reading between here and here should be equal with that one and that one. And I suppose because we've worn away some here, we're getting a different reading. So it thinks that the wiper has moved along this way when it hasn't. It's just that this stuff's been worn away. Let's change this out. We only have to unsolder 3 points at the bottom. These 3 here. So I am going to use my desoldering gun for this. It's very noisy, and I've got a bag of spares. So what I'll do is I'm going to have a look at the potentiometers in here and take one out, and then put it into here. I'll find one that isn't worn. Right, just checking on this now. It's still on. It's updated itself, so it's been on now for about, I would say, close to 1 hour. And I've got BBC iPlayer playing, and it hasn't cut out yet. Wouldn't it be great if it was just those capacitors? Excellent. Okay, rather than using another one that I don't know if it's got stick drift or not, I am just going to use a new one. Now these are the Downers Alps. I don't actually know, they're from eBay. I don't know if they are actually original or not. But yeah, I'm going to use one of these. There we go. Obviously it doesn't matter which one you use. Right, so let's remove the old one. Look at that. Don't tools make all the difference? How easy was that? Right, let's see if this one is going to clip back in. I can turn this off now. Right, so that's in there. We're going to clip. Yes, it is. There you go. Right, let's solder that in. Right, so there you go. You see, just because of the desolder station there, it just made that task so easy. Obviously, it's much easier when you just replace that rather than having to replace the whole thing. Right, I'm going to pop this back together and then I have to give it a mahoosive clean because you've seen that the bottom was sticking earlier and you can see just all the dirt and everything around here. So yeah, let's get that done now. I'll play a little bit of music and I can just fast forward through this bit. If you're wondering where you get these from, you can pick them up from places like eBay really easily. And they're not expensive either. I think last time I looked, I think they would only work out to be a couple of pound each, £2 or £3 each. I don't think they were a lot of money. And then I think you can buy them in bulk for a lot less than that. Isn't it weird how different things affect different people? Most people will be like, that's disgusting to touch this without gloves. But it doesn't really bother me because it's just like dead skin, bits of food and stuff like that. That's fine. But yeah, in the last week I've had to clean two lots of dog poo off my kids' shoes, and that drives me mad. It drives me mad when people just let their dogs do it everywhere. It's so annoying. But yeah, now that is weird. That gets me in a mood for like a whole day. But something like this, it wouldn't bother me. I could clean this. Sick, if somebody gets sick, that doesn't bother me. If somebody got sick on me, wouldn't really bother me. But yeah, then for some reason there's something about dog dirt that is just the worst. BBC iPlayer, I'm just looking behind me. BBC iPlayer and Brian Cox is still working perfectly. I'm getting my hopes up now that that power supply failed because of those output capacitors. Right, I haven't put the back bits on yet because I want to make sure it's working. Plug it in. Let's see what it's going to do. So it's still recognised, classic interface. Now, working, yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes. And yeah, that seems responsive now. You can see it just flashing up here. Right, okay, so that's no longer stuck. Now, where triggers, they're working, and you can see there is now no more stick drift on that right analog stick. And it's going to 100%. There we go. I think that controller is going to work just fine. Let me plug it into the Xbox and make sure it's not doing that weird thing where it was jumping around. Okay, this one here hasn't dropped once, so I'm really hoping now that that power supply is fixed by changing those capacitors, because it must have been on way over 2 hours now, probably nearer 3 hours. So I'm going to turn this one off, and I'm going to now set Dean's one up and just finish up the video. What I'll do with this one is I'm going to put it back together. I will be changing out the power supply with the one that comes from eBay because it will be safer. I think I'm going to use that power supply just as a tester one, because hopefully in the future more of these will come in, and yeah, I can use it for a tester. If I wanted it to be perfect, I could buy those capacitors off eBay, and I think that would be a perfectly working Xbox. But it's still a bit early to say yet. So what I'll do is I'll update on this video now while I'm editing, because editing this will be, you know, probably a few days later. And I'll get my son to play quite a few games of Fortnite or whatever he wants to play on it. And I might even download Forza Horizon 4 on it. That's going to be quite demanding, isn't it? And if it keeps working when that's been on for hours, then I think we can safely say that power supply is fixed. Anyway, let's get this one set up. There we have it, turned on, works fine, looks great. I think Dean got a real good buy here because it hadn't been tampered with before. And check this out, you can see now I can do single movements. But watch, if I was to hold down this button and I try to do a single movement, look, it jumps twice. So I didn't spot it, but that button was held down. That's why I couldn't do a single movement. But still, it did have stick drift. So there we have it, working fine. What a nice little repair. So let's go through what was wrong with it. So, faulty power supply, more than likely these two capacitors here, possibly that one there next to the main massive filter cap, but I'm thinking it's probably more than likely the two output capacitors there. Thumbstick just had the rubber worn away from it, and a potentiometer for the controller. So you can see how beforehand it was completely useless because between the controller and the console it wasn't actually usable. And just from these little components here, it is now hopefully a perfectly working console. Obviously it needs long-term testing, but from what I can see, I think it's fixed. I'm 99.9% sure that it is all fixed. So well happy with that. So massive thanks to Dean. Big thumbs up to Dean for sending this out to me. Massive thanks for doing all my merch as well. If you are interested in any My Mate Vince merch, please check out the link in the description below, and that will take you to the Podults website. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you all very soon. Take care, everyone.